In the heart of Chicago's Little Village neighborhood, a devastating tragedy unfolded when 29-year-old Stevens Jeffrey was fatally shot outside a Little Caesars restaurant. The incident occurred in the early evening hours, shattering what began as an ordinary day. Witnesses described the sound of gunfire erupting suddenly, followed by chaos as people scrambled for safety and tried to comprehend the horror of what had just occurred. Jeffrey's life was cut short in a matter of moments, leaving behind a grieving family and a community searching for answers. 2 young children were with him during the incident, and although they were not physically harmed, they experienced the terror firsthand. The sudden violence transformed a familiar street corner into a scene of heartbreak and sorrow, shaking Little Village to its core. The victim and those left behind the loss of Stevens Jeffrey is not just a statistic. It represents a young man with dreams, loved ones, and a role in his community. While much of his life story remains private, what is clear is that his passing has already left an irreplaceable void. He was a son, a friend, and perhaps even a mentor to those who looked up to him. The candles, flowers, and handwritten notes left at the scene are silent testaments to the lives he touched and the love he inspired. For the 2 children who were with him, this tragedy will cast a long shadow. Surviving such an event does not erase the trauma of having witnessed it, and the scars may remain for years. This underscores the cruel reality of gun violence. It rarely affects only its direct victim, but ripples outward, altering the lives of those closest to them. In Stevens Jeffrey's case, the community as a whole feels this pain, standing together in shock and grief. Investigation underway, questions unanswered. Police arrived quickly after the shooting, recovering shell casings and beginning their search for the suspect. Early reports suggested that the attacker may have approached on foot before opening fire, fleeing in a vehicle shortly afterward. Investigators are reviewing surveillance footage, interviewing witnesses, and analyzing evidence in hopes of piecing together a clear picture of what happened and why. Despite the swift response, many questions remain unanswered. Was this shooting targeted or random? What motivated the assailant to take Stevens Jeffrey's life in such a brutal manner? Until these questions are resolved, fear and uncertainty will continue to haunt Little Village. Detectives are urging community members to come forward with information, emphasizing that even the smallest detail could be critical in solving the case. The broader context, violence and community impact. This tragedy is not an isolated event. Chicago, like many major cities, continues to grapple with persistent issues of gun violence. Every loss reverberates through neighborhoods, leaving families broken and residents questioning the safety of their streets. The shooting in Little Village is another painful reminder of the urgent need for meaningful solutions to address the root causes of such violence. For Little Village, the pain runs especially deep. Known for its vibrant culture, hardworking families, and community pride, the neighborhood has often been forced to confront violence that undermines its spirit. Each new tragedy reopens old wounds, fueling calls for better youth programs, stronger preventative measures, and more resources for those most at risk. Stevens Jeffrey's death now becomes part of that wider narrative, a reminder of the work still to be done to protect innocent lives. Remembering Stevens Jeffrey beyond the police reports and headlines, Stevens Jeffrey deserves to be remembered as a person. Friends and neighbors recall his laughter, his presence in the community, and his ability to brighten a room. The stories shared by those close to him reveal a man who was cherished, valued, and who had much to contribute to the world around him. His death has left not only an empty chair at family gatherings, but a silence that will be felt for years. The vigils that have sprung up in his memory reflect this deep loss. Flickering candles, flowers, and handwritten prayers represent not only grief, but a determination to honor his life. These gatherings are spaces where pain is shared, but also where love is reaffirmed. The community refuses to let his story end at tragedy. Instead, they strive to keep his legacy alive through remembrance and collective solidarity. Moving forward, action, solidarity, and change in the aftermath of Stevens Jeffrey's death, the community is left with a pressing need for healing and action. Authorities are continuing their investigation, but justice alone will not mend the pain. Families, neighbors, and leaders must come together to ensure that tragedies like this do not keep repeating themselves. This means advocating for safer streets, more opportunities for young people, and support systems for those who are most vulnerable. Healing will take time, and for those closest to Stevens Jeffrey, the journey will be long and difficult. Yet even in grief, there is hope. Each voice raised in his memory becomes part of a chorus calling for change, for compassion, and for a future where no family has to endure such a senseless loss. His memory now serves as both a source of sorrow and a spark for transformation, urging the community to protect its people and uplift its spirit. Conclusion: the death of Stevens Jeffrey outside a Little Caesars restaurant in Little Village is a tragedy that has shaken Chicago to its core. It is a story of loss, but also of resilience, of a community united in mourning, yet determined to demand justice and create change. His memory will not be defined solely by the violence that ended his life, but by the love and light he shared while he was here. May Stevens Jeffrey rest in peace, and may his community find strength, healing, and the courage to build a safer tomorrow in his honor.